What's up, my peoples? What's going on? So, I thought I'd show you guys this freaking sun real quick. Oh, the cloud just blocked it. But behind that cloud, please believe this is sun. It looks nice. And wherever you at in the world, whether you can see it visibly or not, just enjoy that thing, man. That thing is awesome. There it goes. It came back out to play. The weather has been super nice during these weird, trying times, and perhaps it's, the planet cleansing itself while we humans, stop doing our madness. Anyhow, I thought I'd take this time to discuss why I don't believe in conspiracy theories, right? Now, if you've never been acquainted with conspiracy theories or watched any of the documentaries, perhaps you should, because it is important, I believe, to question a lot of things that are going on in our reality in general. Because the only way we can truly grow, change, and upgrade is to question the reality we have right now, so that we can create a new one for ourselves. Because in order to change, you have to think about things differently, right? So it's always good to question it, and sometimes a bit of destruction has to be done in order to create something new, right? It's just the circle of life. But anyhow, why don't I believe in conspiracy theories? There's several reasons, right? One of the biggest ones is that with all the misinformation going on, and this really hit me when it came to nutrition, right? Because there's so much information on nutrition, and so much of it even changes from the same source, right? The same source might one day tell you spinach is good for you or coffee is good for you, and then a couple of weeks later they're like, oh, I was wrong, it's actually bad for you because of mycotoxins and this and that and blah blah blah. And there's always some type of scientific explanation, rationalizing it. But it's like there's so much information that it can be very confusing, and there's a lot of contradicting information. And it's like the same thing with conspiracy theories, right? And when you get into a documentary, you get one side of it, which starts to make a whole lot of sense. But a lot of times when you take a step back and really pay attention, it's like, wait, but this and this kind of doesn't add up either. Like, even though what you're saying is making sense, and that's another important thing, is that just because something makes sense doesn't necessarily mean it's true. I had to get high a couple of times to realize that one, because I would rationalize something in my mind. It would make so much sense. It could be a fear or some type of anxiety thing, and it made complete sense in my mind when I was high. And the next day, waking up sober, it would still make sense when I was sober. Like, yeah, that still makes sense. But nah, I know that's not true because this, and this, And that's kind of like what opened my eyes to that. But anyhow, there's that. First of all, there's a lot of conflicting information. And I'm starting to live by one very general that philosophy that I believe keeps me grounded. And it's just sticking to my 5 freaking senses. Empirical evidence. Is this something that I could prove myself? Whether the moon is hollow or not, I can't prove that myself. You know what I mean? I don't have a spaceship. I'm not Elon Musk, if he really, because then people don't believe we're really going out of space either, right? So I gotta be careful with that one too, right? But I don't have a spaceship to go out there and knock on the moon and be, oh guys, it's hollow, y'all. It's true. The theories are true. You know what I mean? So I try to stick to whatever I can actually prove myself. I feel like that keeps me very grounded in reality. And interestingly enough, there's actually a tribe, I believe it's an Amazonian tribe, that they kind of have that same philosophy, right? So any kind of story that you tell them, and this is why missionaries had so much difficulty trying to convert them to their religion, was that one of the first questions they would ask is, did you personally see all this? Or if the answer to that is no, did a friend of yours, did a friend of yours that you personally know, right? Not somebody you know from YouTube or somebody you never met before, someone that you personally know experienced this. And if the answer was no, they didn't care to hear any of your stories. And I mean, with everything, there's pros and cons, right? Every philosophy you have, every belief you have, we should acknowledge that there's pros and cons to it. But I believe that that model is very grounding, because otherwise we can get lost, you know? When it comes to history, his story, how do we truly know? You know what I mean? Like, unless you can verify yourself, I feel like, how can you truly know? You know, you're taking somebody's word for it. And so, like, um, that's one of the good things that conspiracy theories teach you, is that, like, don't just take anybody's word for it. Don't just believe the media. Don't just believe what everybody else is saying just because everybody else believes it. The common, you know, they say when all the masses are going one direction, you should stop and ponder, perhaps go a different direction. So that's one of the beneficial things about conspiracy theories. But I feel like where many people get lost is that they still stop thinking for themselves. So they believe in they watch a documentary, they believe in that conspiracy theory, which may or may not be true. I'm not saying it's not either. But then they switch from, okay, well, I don't believe the media and these people, but I believe them now. You know what I mean? Now I believe conspiracy theorists. So then anything that a conspiracy theorist says that goes against the norm, now they're believing that, like, right away. They'll watch a documentary and they believe that right away. Like, so you get to a point where you can become very susceptible to just believing any conspiracy theory that comes out, just because if it goes against the masses, maybe it's true. And a lot of things are true that the masses don't know, but that doesn't mean the masses are wrong about every single thing. You know what I mean? Not every conspiracy. A lot of conspiracy theories out there, I'm telling you, are very, very, very questionable. And that brings me to the next point, which is called controlled opposition, right? So there's this notion, which a lot of conspiracy theorists also are aware of, which is called controlled opposition, which is basically, if you believe in that opposition, right? These people that are, the higher powers that control all the things in the world are doing all these conspiracy related stuff. Well, what is the smart thing, the intelligent thing for them to do, right? Well, for one, call conspiracy theories, right? Because now it just kind of takes away the whole truth of it all, right? So it kind of just, if you label it such, and the media is really good at that, they'll label things in such a way that discredit it, right? So, I mean, once you hear conspiracy theory, it already sounds like it's baloney, right? So that's the first thing, right? They label it that. But the next thing is to actually feed more fluff in there, right? So you create new conspiracy theories and stuff like that to just really, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? But you're just overloading the masses with misinformation, right? And so then what happens is, if you start saying, oh, the moon is hollow and this is that and that is this, which I'm not taking sides when it comes to all these things, but you start to throw more conspiracy theories out there, then people are really going to be confused, because then they're like, damn, are all these conspiracy theories true then, or are they false? Because some of this stuff sounds a little bit questionable, and then you can start to lead them down the wrong path. So that's what controlled opposition is about. And to be honest, I believe even the world is, that the world is flat and all that stuff. I think that's a lot of controlled opposition, because another thing that it does is it divides and conquer, like the divide and conquer philosophy, right? So, in the beginning, you had only a couple conspiracy theories, which were more than likely completely true, right? But then they kept throwing stuff out there, and now maybe half of the conspiracy theories out there are just complete BS. And now you have even the people that are believing in these conspiracy theories, like, disagreeing with each other about it. So now we can't even unite on this quote-unquote rebellion, if you want to call it that, right? So there's that controlled opposition, right? The next thing, too, is that a lot of times it goes back to, we don't really know. Like, how do you absolutely 100% know? Like, even going to the whole 9/11 conspiracy, right? Whether you believe in that or not. I believe, personally, there's a lot of questions that are unanswered. And it's definitely, I think, something that we should question and try to make more sense of. But again, right, there were a lot of crazy coincidences. Like, they just so happened to be doing a bunch of hijack simulations that same day, so they weren't able to tell if this was a real hijack or one of the simulations. And so many crazy things that were going on that just were questionable, right? And how they didn't do the regular bomb test that they typically do to check for bombs in the building. They kind of like postponed it that month or something like that. I can't remember because I watched these things a long time ago. But even then, right, like, the whole inside job thing, how do we even know that perhaps they got fooled too, right? Like, they being, I guess, us, you know, the U.S. Military, U.S. intelligence. And like, we just got, like, you know, that they, whoever they is, did such a good job at planning this that they fooled us, or they fooled the government, or, you know, the intelligence agencies, to the point that they didn't even want to admit that, like, the shit went down that way. And maybe that's why they hid a lot of information from us and didn't answer a lot of things, you know what I mean? Because maybe they were trying to hide another thing, which wasn't necessary that they themselves did it. I'm just throwing that out there. That doesn't mean that that was what it was. It could have very well been an inside job, or very well been that somehow, you know, there was some Middle Eastern people that like us, don't like us so much they flew out of their country and did these crazy things, which that is even something to look at, right? Like, why does another country halfway around the world hate us so much that they're willing to go through all this trouble and do suicide missions to hurt us? It also makes you wonder, you know what I mean? Is it true that our drones are out there killing like little children over there? I mean, they are drones. They could be, you know, shooting people, you know, by accident, they are military drones, right? It's designed to kill things, and sometimes it could pick up the wrong things, or maybe it was designed, maybe it did pick up, you know, or maybe it wasn't such an accident after all. I don't know, you know? So that's why I don't get too wrapped up on it. And that brings me to the next thing, which is the mind. We have to safeguard our mind. And with a lot of these conspiracy theories, we're just unnecessarily putting ourselves in a state of fear, anger, and worry, right? I don't know about you, but when I watch these things, it just makes me angry, you know, makes me like fearful, hopeless. You know what I mean? It's been a while since I've watched them, but when I used to, like, that's how I used to feel, you know? Hopeless, fearful, and angry. And so it's like, why put ourselves in those emotions, you know what I mean? And ultimately, I believe we shouldn't immerse ourselves in any problem for too long. We should, if anything, think about the problem really quick. What solutions can we come out, you know, what solutions can we make up for it, and then act. And if we can't come up with any solutions, you'll throw that shit away, pay it no more mind. And it's not about ignorance is bliss. It's just that if there's nothing you can do, why amplify the fear? Why amplify the worry? Our minds don't function very well in those states of mind. You know what I mean? So there will always be good and bad in the world. That's the yin and yang. No matter what, there will always be good and bad. But it really is up to us to decide what to put our lens on, what to put our focus on. So, you know, it's fine. Be aware of the bad. That's fine. Like, you know, educate yourself. But then bring it right back to the good. Focus on the good. Focus on the beautiful sun, the beautiful weather. You know what I mean? Your family. Because at the end of the day, I notice a lot of people get so wrapped up about the whole world and the world is going to shit. Yo, don't worry about the whole world. Worry about your world. That's the world you're living in. And if you just worry about your world, you have a lot more power in your world, right? If you're happy and you come back home happy, and now your family is just a little bit more happier because you're happy, and you're constantly coming home in a good state, which elevates the states of everyone at your home. All your close friends and relatives, they benefit from it, and next thing you know, you're living in a freaking happy world. And guess what? Your world does affect the world at large, so by you just focusing on your world and making that better, it makes the whole world at large better as well. But what's awesome about that is that you're in power now, you're in control. So even if the whole world really is going to shits, because your world is great, your world continues to be great, and it continues to at least affect the world at large in whatever way, in a positive way. You get what I'm saying? So so there's that as well. And actually a movie that really is freaking awesome for that, if you've ever seen it, is an animated movie called Claws. And that's the perfect example of how this guy, you know, it's just one guy, changed that whole island that he was in. You know, it was a terrible island. It was like, you know, I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you want to watch it. It's Claus, Klaus, I believe. And it's like kind of like the story of Santa Claus, but like they made it like in a real tangible way. And so that whole island was, everybody was miserable and always constantly fighting with each other. But you know, basically he got the children together and the children got the adults together, and just everybody, and he changed the whole world there. Everyone, it went from a place of misery to a place of freaking abundant joy, right? And so we all have the power to change our world. And if that's the world you're operating in, that is the whole world. You get what I'm saying? So there's that. And now, you know, several people made the ingenious idea of, you know, me making a list of notes for these videos, because I don't like to edit videos, you know. I feel like, you know, it just keeps it organic, right? You know, like your fruits and vegetables should be organic. Although really, you know, you should grow your own. I'm being completely hypocritical right now. But I just feel like, you know, straight out of the tree, even when you buy organic, I'm just a little thought out there, but you know, it's always taken out prematurely from the tree. It's like, it's so much more powerful if you grab it straight out the vine, already ripe. I feel like it gives more nutrients that way. So that's just another side note. But let me make sure I got everything here. Yeah, I think that's about all. Okay, awesome. So I did pretty good just straight off the dome on one try. That's awesome. So yeah, but it's just that one thing. Like, our mind amplifies things, right? So, oh yeah. Another thing I wanted to touch upon with the whole conspiracy theory thing is, if you believe in alternate realities, which I'm starting to believe in, like parallel universes or whatever, because things are getting really weird and glitchy. You know, like as I raise my vibration, weird things that are kind of unexplainable have begun to happen, which kind of have steered me into that direction. It's like you can live in different kind of worlds, right? And if you believe that there is some kind of power up there, that, you know, these limited few people that have control of the whole world and they're out to get us, like that'll become a real thing where they may come to get you, you know what I mean? But if you don't believe in that stuff, you just don't subscribe to it, chances are you won't be bothered, you know what I'm saying? Like, and not to take away from any of these beings, but like, just to use Nipsey Hussle for an example, if you guys know about him, he tried to get the documentary out for Dr. Sebi, and he was speaking a whole lot about conspiracy theories. And then, you know, he even mentioned, if they kill me, like, ride for me, you know, and sure enough, they did kill him, you know, supposedly. And so, but then you have people like Gandhi, who got a whole freaking country, like, earned them their independence through non-violence. And it's like, when you think about it, if there really is these conspiracy theories going on, and these people, these powers that be that don't want us to have power, basically, if they really truly existed, wouldn't they have been killed? You know what I mean? They would have been took Gandhi out, you know what I mean? They took him out a long time ago, way before he even did all that stuff, you know? But if your message is just about love and unity, and, you know, you kind of disregard all that other mess, like forget all that, then chances are you just won't get bothered like that. But if you keep talking about us versus them and this whole revolution, like Malcolm X kind of thing, you know what I mean? Which, again, like, I'm not like discrediting anybody out here. There's pros and cons to everything. But I feel like when you do that, then you create a us versus them atmosphere. You create a world for yourself of us versus them, and then guess what? There's gonna be a us versus them. But if you're just about love and unity and everybody just loving one another, then that'll be the world that you create. So yeah, guys, I hope that at least kind of bring some source of some sense of relief to you guys, some sense of clarity, because I know it has for me, and that's why I wanted to share it. So peace, guys. One love.